Hello, everyone. It's the D'Angelos slash
us.
just us. This is just for us. We wanted to make sure that we remembered the things that happened the week of our wedding. And so this is vlog 2 talking about Friday, May 13th. So, Rachel had slept over the night prior and we were getting up in the morning. I could not sleep. I actually remember waking up early, being just really ready to get things started. So I, took a shower, got myself ready. I was just feeling a lot of emotions. Like just, it hit me the weight of the fact that I was getting married, and it wasn't sad or upset, just overwhelming. And I was hiding back a lot of tears as I was like getting ready to put stuff in the car. It took me forever just like get dressed and like pack for the night, to do rehearsal and rehearsal dinner. And Rachel was just amazing. She cleaned the entire apartment, got everything set, like reorganized things that needed to be reorganized. She was amazing. And the one thing I could do is just move stuff. Like I couldn't organize stuff, but I could move things. So I took all of the ceremony decor and like put it in Rachel's car one by one. And as I was doing so, like I just was fighting back tears. And I just missed Nick because I hadn't seen him the day before, and it was a busy week. So then all of a sudden I get a Snapchat from Nick D'Angelo, and he's on a golf cart dripping sweat, and he said, "Yo, Bundy, or what you doing, Bundy?" as he always does. And you said how it was going with golf, but then you also said, "I'm gonna marry and sex the crap out of you." And it just made me cry and laugh at the same time out of gratitude. And Rachel could tell something was wrong, and so I told her what I was feeling, and she's like, "Nick loves you and he's thinking about you. We're gonna see him in a couple hours." So that was good. So I appreciate that. Such a good husband to be at that time. And then
Jody.
So Jody calls me and essentially tells me that her dad is in the ICU, but she and Jeremiah had hopes that everything would be fine and they could make it to the wedding the next day. And she also told me that you had to call George Eastman to get pictures taken there. So long story short, I called and the guy said, "Yep, you have to have a contract with us. It's going to cost $300 to take pictures outside, $500 to take pictures inside, and I'm leaving in half an hour, so you have to make it to here in a half an hour." Not gonna happen. So I called Jody. She's like, "You know what? I think we can risk it for the biscuit." And I was like, "Great, let's just go for it." But I was nervous about it that whole time. That was a summary of the story, and in the midst of that, I was very upset and emotional about it. And
not good info to learn that you might lose your photographer and your photog venue.
Yeah.
The day before you need them.
The day before your wedding, yes. So, but Nick got back from golfing with Brad and some other guys that he'll share about in a minute, and was really comforting and said, essentially, like, it'll all work out and we're getting married, and that's the most important thing. So then from my perspective, we had a really nice breakfast with just Brad and Chris and Doreen and Rachel, just very chill. And I kept thinking, like, I've got to be doing something. I should be doing something. And Rachel's like, "No, you should be like, you should be relaxing. That's what you should be doing." So that was great. And I feel like this one's gonna be long. So then
It's fine.
we had to go back to the apartment because we missed some things. We picked up Nicole, which was great. She was very excited to see me, get things rolling. And we got to Webster Baptist and started setting up, and that was very smooth. It just looked beautiful. Like everything was just perfect. And I hope I remember the fact that I borrowed the black lanterns from Browncroft. I borrowed battery operated candles from Alicia and Browncroft. I borrowed all the real candles from Alicia. I got Dollar Tree white flowers for the flowers on the walls. Like everything was borrowed, and I just love that. And Fairy Lights came from Joanna, all those kinds of things. Like and I say all that just to be like, God bless the process, financially and just with who was involved. It was also very, very hot that day. Very, very hot.
We booked this church knowing they didn't have air conditioning.
Oh my gosh.
But we thought, what's the worst that could happen in the first half of May?
and that's what can happen.
It was 85 degrees that day, and inside it was probably 80.
My gosh.
So
This was bad. But yeah, Doreen and Aunt Lauren and Rodney took care of the whole fellowship hall and getting the food ready for dinner. Carol from Webster Golf was amazing, very meticulous, but awesome indeed. Like just covering all the bases, making sure everything went smoothly. And then people started coming around 5:30. I loved the fact that everyone was there. It felt like the celebrations were already starting, which they were. The rehearsal went smoothly. Joshua was just the best in making sure that everyone had a good time and that everyone knew what they were supposed to be doing. He was very flexible with asking me questions of like, do you want your dad to stand here? What should we do next? And just he would go with the flow the entire time. And I really appreciate that about Josh. And the first time we went, he talked through everything. And then the first time I walked down the aisle, I lost it. Between the music and just everyone being there, it became so real that this is actually happening. So that was a very special moment for me. And what did I say next? Then
the rehearsal, then it was just rehearsal dinner.
Yeah, we just had a great time having dinner together, and Nick and I were able to sit with my parents and talk with them. And I feel we did a pretty decent job of jumping to different people and talking to them. And I loved giving the gifts out to my bridesmaids. They loved their gifts. They got jewelry boxes, a towel with their name on it, and luggage tags, candy, and a gift card. And the jewelry box had their initials on it. And they loved it, which was really great. And William loved his T-ball set, who was our ring bearer, and Abigail, our flower girl, loved her. She's like a scooter for her doll. She just loved that. So I was glad we loved them well. And Renee Brown was a huge help with the dinner too. I just appreciate that we could have it at the church. It was very easy. And the swings came later. That was great. Such a blessing. So yeah, I'll chime in with other stuff if I think about it as you tell your version.
So yeah, obviously had a very busy Thursday, then followed it up with golfing at 9 a.m. So Brad stayed over the whole week, so I felt like we were single again. And then
it did feel like I was a bachelor, like I was a single woman.
It was bachelor life for like 2.5 days.
It was.
Which kind of helped to make it feel different when we came together. So Brad and I went with Brian and Doug to Webster Golf. We got to golf 9 holes for free. Brian was by far the best, then Brad, then Doug. Then I was really bad for the first, we golfed 10 through 18. And I was very bad from 10 through 15. And then I finally figured it out. Brian kept losing golf balls. We think someone stole some. So that was the funny part, absurd amount of golf balls lost that were just like in front of us at one point. Other than that, just like fun, hanging out with the guys. I finally started hitting well last 3 holes. I saved us on the 17th. And
sorry,
we paused it. We saved us on the 17th, and then I sank a putt on the 18th to beat them by 1 stroke. So I think it was Brian and Nick 42, Brad and Doug 43. So that was good. Got a little bit of sun, and then Brad and I went, and we had to drop the golf clubs off at Mike Key's house. I got a call as I was showing Brad Rory McIlroy's house from Amanda about the Jotty photographer and Eastman situation. So it happened. What are you going to do about it? Then we drove home, had lunch with the crew. I showered. I wrote some of my groomsmen cards. Then Chris, Brad, and I went to go get my haircut. Jake, booked me for a full hour, and then he didn't even charge me. So it was a free haircut and beard trim, I was very grateful for.
So sweet.
And then us three went to join you guys at the church and help set up. There wasn't a ton to do, but we just carried stuff inside and waited.
You guys were very helpful so we had everything set up in the ceremony, and then the guys were kind of sitting there chilling, and Brad basically made the subtle recommendation of let's put everything on and make sure you like how it looks down the aisle. And that was a great suggestion because it looked beautiful. So
yeah, the ceremony itself, we just kind of waited for people, but it was good. We needed that because there was a lot of moving parts with who to pray where and all that. So it was definitely needed.
The rehearsal.
The rehearsal was super needed. We got a little misty, Amanda and John kind of lost it, but I got misty at the fake walk down the aisle. But it was a good group of people. We had probably 40 people there in total.
Yeah.
You know, kids and adults, everyone combined. So it was a good rehearsal. Yeah, rehearsal dinner was uneventful mostly. My guys, I gave them all a bag, like a duffel bag with their initials on it. They all loved that. And then they all got slightly different snacks. Like Paul got coffee, and, you know, Ken got like granola bars, and some guys got like candy or trail mix. Yeah. So everyone got a little bit of different tangible snack, golf balls.
Very personal snacks, which was nice.
And then they all got a handwritten letter from me as well.
Oh, my girls got a handwritten letter, which, can I say something about that real quick? So when I wrote Nicole's, all I could, like, I started with Nicole, like, and I just instantly thought about like every childhood memory that I could remember. And it just was like, it's just amazing how you look back when you're coming up upon something that's very monumental in your life. And so that Nicole lost it when she read that card from me. And I told Dana she's my biggest cheerleader, which she's now like penned as her own like label for me, is like she is the best cheerleader. So that was great. I loved writing those cards.
Yeah, it was great to see the Swanks. Great to hang out with everybody. At that point, it still didn't feel real. It still felt surreal. I was talking to Michael McDowell about it, and it was still so much business that it was still like I knew intellectually it was our wedding the next day, but it didn't feel that way emotionally. It wasn't negative, but it was just surreal. But no, it was good dinner, good hanging out with people. And then Brad and I, you know, we left all around 9. Brad and I left, forgot to say goodbye to her. That's how much it was bachelor life. Now, in my defense, it's not like I saw her and just left. I thought she was gone, but I didn't even think about it. And then we got called. We had to drive back, say goodbye. So yeah, that is how in the zone we were.
Can I say the exact phrase that you said?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we walk out of the church and I'm expecting to see Nick like waiting in the parking lot and he's not there. And I'm like, I didn't say goodbye to Nick. And I thought like Rachel just was, anything that I brought up that was an issue, Rachel solved it and didn't even question it. So she's like, okay, I'll call him. I'll call Nick. So she's like, well, Nick, Amanda's here and she wants to say goodbye. And she hung up and she goes, like, Nick, he's coming back. And I was like, I wondered if like you would be, she didn't tell you that.
She just said,
she's like, can you come back? Can you come back to the church? So then you pull up and you're like, what's up? I'm like, you didn't say goodbye. You're like, oh, I'm such a dick.
I didn't mean to. I just forgot.
I was like, okay, because I was like wondering if you'd be like, oh my gosh, it's not a big deal. But you were like,
no, that was a dick move. I didn't mean to do that.
I was like, the night before our wedding is like, I just want to say goodbye to you. So it was
unintentional.
We had a very sweet moment in the parking lot. I personally took it in the fact like, I am literally marrying you tomorrow. Like
in like 12 hours. Not maybe. Like 15 hours.
Crazy. So that was very nice. So I appreciate you coming back for that.
Yeah, and Brad and I went back and I had to like get food and water in, and we watched Megamind and hung out. Went to bed around midnight.
That's so fun.
And that's everything I can think of from Friday.
I think me too. Yeah. It was great. Oh, William was running around like a maniac.
Then he took his shirt off. He was half naked.
He was half naked.
Oh, the kids would not. They couldn't get in dress rehearsal. The ring bearer and flower girl.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't working. So like there was a real chance on Saturday that it was just not going to happen.
He was like barely walking down the aisle, but like anytime Abigail went to hold his hand, it helped, and he kept like twisting the sign. So I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna be walking down the aisle with like a blank sign in his hand. But it all worked out, which you'll hear in about a second.